Yes, hold on. All right, thank you so much once again. Welcome to tonight's class, and it's been a wonderful time. So far, we have had classes on. We have had classes on CSS. We have taken CSS selector, docs model. We've talked about backgrounds and border. How we have also gone through handling different text directions. We have also discussed overflowing contents. Then we have also discussed values and units, different values and units. We have also discussed sizing items on CSS. We also look at organizing your CSS. That was among the first class we had. And we have also looked at images, media, and form elements. Okay, we didn't actually go through form elements. I believe we have discussed styling tables, debugging CSS, and basically, I think we are actually done with everything on CSS. I think Mr. Manuel covered all, but I will go through this content again, starting from adding images to CSS. I will go through that again for those that didn't actually flow during the last class. Then I will go through everything and take questions so that we could proceed with our project. Then move over to the next step. That being said, we are supposed to complete. Yes, you are supposed to build a restaurant app, a restaurant app at the end of your CSS class. So the project, your main mini project is supposed to come up. Then the other project too is also supposed to come up. All right. Okay, I'm going to take back. I'm going to go through um images and media. I believe you see my screen. Images and media. I discussed on that, which I promised to send in the assessment, but I had to suspend that because of your assessments and other things. I had to suspend the project. So I will be dropping your mini projects for this module. Then your capstone project too will be dropped. So you have to submit each of them according to their timeline. So that being said, we will proceed. I'm going to launch this on the live server and recap on what we did in our last class. So during our last class, we talked about images, media. During the last class, I discussed with you. I believe like I said, I'm going through everything that we have learned in here during the CSS module. I'll just take an overview of all of them so that we could recap on which one we didn't understand, get more insights before we move and proceed. Okay, so we talked about the images, adding images to CSS. So which I said adding images to CSS, you have different patterns of doing that. So looking at what we had as a project, we are supposed to have an a text under an image, which was something, and we decided to have in order to put it, which I mentioned earlier. I mentioned that day that there are many ways to do this, but we are going to add the image as a background image instead of adding it using your image tag and element. So I decided to use background image for the reasons, because my text is supposed to be on top. My text is supposed to be on top of the background. So instead of since then we haven't learned anything on Z index, that's dropping elements on top of each other, stacking elements using Z index. So because we haven't done that, I decided to use this format to do that, which I believe during your classes last weekend on Friday, I believe you did something on the Z index on dropping content, laying contents on top of each other. Oh, so that's that. Okay, so we talked about, I had to look into this. So what we did is we majorly focused on this area, which is the workout program section of our project. So we had to I gave a class name. I gave each section a class name. Each section I gave it a class name of ZAM. I gave it a class name of ZAM. This is my HTML. So we did a little modifications whereby I had to come in here on this is a workout program. So on our workout program, this our workout section, I had to, okay, let me expand this so that this okay, okay. So I had to expand this to workout programs, and here we have an ID. So basically we are using that ID for this session. Remember, that was during the class where we learned about ID attributes. So we have uh, programs as a folder, and then gave a class name of programs. So this is our CSS. We have programs. What happens to program? Okay, there is no style. We have to comment on the style for programs. Then we gave each of these boxes, like we learned about that everything during the box model, that everything is inside the box. Everything being inside the box means we have to target it based on the boxes, which means every this section from here to this point is inside a box. Let me see if I can have a pen here. Okay, let's see. Okay, whiteboard. I couldn't find the whiteboard last class. There's no need doing this. Whiteboard. Okay, so I think I can't bring out the whiteboard right now. Maybe in the next class I'll have to do that, but I'll be needing it. So here, these points we have beginner friendly. This section now is a D. This is section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5. So which is what we have here on our code: div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, and div 5, which we have the text and the footing. So we named our the section that is housing. We now named this section here, this this image and this text. We have to name. We now named it. So gave it a class name, Ozam. Then also give our button a class name, and I have to change something here during the last class because we wanted to have. I have to house the button inside a div. I have to house the button inside a div. So let's continue with the first one because here I'm going to ask a question. I'll ask a question so that we could. I'll ask a question. I'll ask a question so that we could have it. I will actually know those that understood the last class and what was taught. So, because I need us to, the more we get close to knowing what we are supposed to, the more we get experience. Experience can never be bought; it can only be experienced. So, while we continue in the journey of learning and proceeding, I also want us to cherish the experience that we are getting. So, like I said, experience can only be experienced, it can never be bought. So you can't buy experience, you can only experience it. So that being said, I added the class. We first added the class, gave our div a class name of Sam, then gave our H3 a class name of text. So coming down to our CSS, we called the first the background, that's the div that is housing our text. We opened it and added the background image. Notably, we were, because of the way we are supposed to lay out our design, we decided to add the image as a background image. So what we did, I showed you the method. This is the method to add image as a background image using the background image property. You add using the value of URL brackets. You add the parts where the source, your image source, just like you add in your during you use in your image using your image element tag or element, you add your source. So this is the same way you did it, but here you use URL for that. So this is the method of adding image as a URL as a background image. So if you are to add background image, if it's a video content, you could just add video. Okay, let's try out using video. I don't have a video. Okay, let's see. I think I could improvise one. Let's see. I could improvise one. I think I have a video somewhere. I think I have a video somewhere. I wish we could use this video. I'm sorry, it seems I can't find this anytime soon. It's supposed to be here. So, okay. Let's see. I can't find the video. Supposed to have a video, so we could just download one. We could just download one. So let's see. I'm supposed to have it somewhere. Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Okay. This just means I need to stop sharing so that I could access my. Okay. Okay. I come back here. Perfect. So I'm creating a new folder called video videos. Open it and paste the video. So this is the video content. So we are going to add that to the CSS. So this is store MP4. So I'm going to come here and basically I have to change the link. Videos MP3. So launch. Let's see. So we have it. I think I need a thumbs up right now. I need like a thumbs up. Nobody's excited. Wow. I think we end this class since there's no excitement in the whole class thing. And okay, yes. I also remember asking you guys to check out the 7up website. I remember fully well I asked you to check out 7up's website. I don't know how many persons that did that. If you did that, comment on the message section so that I could see how many persons that did that checked out the 7up's website. So that being said, your mini project, which is should be a restaurant app, is a restaurant website. You have actually wanted to give you a Figma 5 for that, but looking at, I think I want you to be innovative. All right, till then we'll discuss on that. At the end of the class, we'll discuss on that. So that being said, this is how to add an image as a video as a background. So I think what I will do, I'm going to change this way. I will do this like this, copy this, undo it, then come to the body, and it's always in the background color. I'll add a background image to the body. So we now have. Now, if you noticed something, if you notice
Sorry, please, it's like your screen is not showing.
my screen. So sorry.
Yes.
So sorry about that. Let me join.
Yes, it's not also showing from my end.
Yeah, notice. All right. Okay. Just give me a second. So I believe you could see my screen now. So we have a challenge. What do you think is the challenge? I made mention of this the first time we talked about background as an image. I want to know if you are following. We have a challenge. This is duplicated itself by default because why? What do we need to add? I want to know if we have planned stuff during the whole CSS module. What we have planned. Let's challenge ourselves. What is missing here? What do you think is missing? There's something. What do you think? What is the effect of this? Why is this background duplicated this way? I have mentioned this in time, countless time. I've made mention of it countless time.
The image.
I think it's repeat, no repeat. We have to set it to no repeat.
Okay, let's add it. Let's see. So I'll just say repeat. How do I add it?
I think you need background pattern, no repeats.
You think? Okay, I
Sorry,
I think
sorry, background pattern, no repeat.
background background what?
Background repeats, yes, background repeats.
Mhm. No repeat. So what's happening? Okay, okay. We have solved the problem of repeat, but we need it to cover all the all the section. So what do? We need it to cover all part of the site. Something is still missing.
The background size, you set it to cover.
Size. Awesome. So okay. So I think we have a situation. So we actually fixed it, but there's a situation. The, there's a problem here, which is we have we transformed all our hash tree. So here, this guy here is an hash tree. It's also been affected, which is making it to be transformed. So this, how do we fix it? So if I remove this from here, so that's why you can't always using a name. Once you are using an element selector, you you run into issues like this. The ones that you don't want to have effect are taking up the effects, which is something you don't want. Except you are using, we want to use absolute. selectors where we now define div that are under here, adjacent, using adjacent. But that being said, we could just use text. 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 Okay. So why is it not working? I have a class name. I'm missing a class name for text. Go ahead, please, Star. I have a class name.
But since the Friday class video was not uploaded, I was thinking you repeat like what you did that Friday so that because I'm not, I think I'm lost, honestly.
Okay. Basically, this is actually what I did. I just added few things and I'm still repeating everything that we did. I actually went back a bit. So I'm taking, like I said, I'm taking the whole section, the whole CSS module. I'm going through the whole section that we have had on CSS, starting from what we did the last time. I will take it and move around so that we have a full background check on what we have done. So actually, I'm taking a recap on what I did. This is actually what I did. All right. So we have a situation here. Basically, I have on my CSS, this has a class name of text, but on my CSS, I have it text too, but it's not affecting this. Something is wrong somewhere.
We didn't
And
use the
what do you
dot class. We didn't put dots
the
before
dot?
the text to declare that it's a class selector.
All right. Thank you, Florence. And that fixed it. So thank you so much. That's actually what I needed. So now we have added that. So we also added something. We did something. We had to fix up the image width and height. So if I comment on this, this is what we have. So firstly, we learned how to we transformed our code, our element. If you look closely, you see that our element is being transformed. So we are transforming it, rotate it by minus 90. So if you use 90 degrees, it will turn to your other side. In order, since we want the text to start from the bottom to the top, so invert the other way. So we had to use minus 90 to have it, so you could read it from the top according to the design pattern we have. So you could turn it to any degree that you want. Let's say we need 60 degrees. We could use 60 degrees. We could use 120 degrees. So let's go back to 90. So that's for that. Then we did something. We actually added on the programs we actually added okay, let's do it this way so that we could get everybody up to speed. So we had this in our design. So we needed this to be in the same line. So like I said, we use display property to change the default element behavior, the default behavior of an element. What do I mean by that? Now we are using div here. So div is a block level element, right? Yes. So div is a block level element which has a default. It's the element div being a block level element means that it has a behavior, it takes up a behavior of a block level element, which is stacking each content, each element under it, which is what we have here. True or yes? Yes. So don't mind me. And in order to change, to alter this, so the basic thing we do with CSS is to alter, like I said, in this section, we are just like turning water into wine. We alter the default behavior of an element to suit what we want. So this div are all these divs here, inside here, all these are block level elements. So in order to suit what we want, our design, from what we have on our design, we are supposed to. So it has to be in the same line. So now you ask the question, why did I use flex, right? Why did I use flex? So let's try. Why didn't I use inline? So I am using inline now. I used inline, display inline. It didn't work, and you will ask why. Arguably, I would say arguably, because we are trying to move a container, not not just a single element. We are moving an element that has been nested, so we can't actually use inline. So let's try inline block. If I use inline block, what happens? Why it didn't work? Let's try inline flex. Inline flex works. So the best thing to use is flex, because flex gives us the ability to do what we want. We can do a lot. We can kill a lot with flex. So now we set our display to be flex, mean it should behave to be flexible, flexing up. Invert it, we have turned water into wine by turning an inline block level element to behave like an inline level element using display flex. So we just turned water into wine. Can I get a thumbs up for that? All right, Favor, thank you so much. These are my members, the only members I have in this church for today. So, and then now you see that the members are congested. Now we need to space it up. They are just jam-packed together. If it was during the era of coronavirus, we'll be sued for sitting this way. So in order to suit what we are doing, we decided to use we gap. Now we want to give spacing. We use gap. So now okay. All right, Victory, your hand is raised up.
Sorry, sir. I just wanted to inform the class that the attendance link is on the chat.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. So now we decided to use, we want to give spacing. We are using gap. So we use gap. So I have to now check in order to have up to what I want, I've added a gap of 20 to 20, 20, 20. If I use 10, you can have a gap of 70. If you do a gap of 70 to overshoot, which if I want to, from what we learned on over, what is it called again? Overflowing content. So now this content is overflowing right now. So from what we learned, we could use overflow hidden to hide this hidden part. Then we can now add a scroll whereby it's going to scroll without of shooting this way. So that's for another time. So which we decided to use 20 to have is, this is the spacing we have on the design. So using our design eyes, we had to pick 20 to suit our design. Then we, in order to have a proper display, I had to justify content, space around. So now if you notice, if I use justify content space, justify content, this gap is no longer necessary, because if I'm using gap, these two things does the same thing. This gap and justify content does the same thing. They are giving space in between the content. But what do I really want? That's the question. What do I really want to achieve? You understand? What do I really want to achieve from this whole thing? So what I need, if I use gap of 20, I will have this gap and everything will not be aligned, which I will have to do something like adding this is something like margin auto. So now if I use it, it's not going to work. If I have to now find a way to center align it, so what I have to do, this gap I have to now add, in order to have a more centralized gapping here, space here, without doing much, I have to use justify content space between. So there are a lot of properties for justify content. We have space around. So if we use space around, this is space around. We have, so this is space around aligns flex items along. So justify content goes with flex. You understand that? So align this justify content aligns item along the main axis of the current container. So we can use space around. We could use space. If I say space evenly, it's giving an even space. Evenly means the same. If we use space around, it's spacing around, but the space here is quite different. It's smaller than this. This is quite bigger than this. So that's for space around. Then so basically we could use anyone. Space evenly. Evenly means the same spacing. So that is one. There was else padding. Now we notice we need to have a space because from our design we had a huge space here. So I had to use padding. Padding. I'm using a padding here. Padding of 60. I've used padding. So top the padding up. Like I said, when you have one affects the four corners. Then when you have two, you only have up and down, left and right. So this is 0 pixels is for the up and down. This is for the left and the right. So this is what I did. So now you see that our spacing here has reduced because of this padding, because we are just spacing evenly. So in order to have this, I have to initiate this gap to have that no matter the spacing, they should always maintain a gap of 20. So that's the work of this gap here. Always maintain the gap of 20, the space of 20 between them. This size here, no matter how I increase this pattern here, it shouldn't affect that we are supposed to give ourselves a space of 20. That is why this gap was given here. Now, why did we use width? You see that this width is no longer necessary. So we could use, because it's no longer necessary because we are using space evenly. So because the last time we are using space between, so we're using space between. So if we initiate this, you see, but because we're using space evenly now, which is giving us a more better, it's giving us centralizing it more better than we needed. So I think evenly works for us in this case. So we don't need this with any more. Then that is for that. Then that is for this section where we have the background and the background. The text. So now coming down to button. So we have that our button, we have this button, it has a border and a white text. So, but when I put my mouse to it, the cursor pointer, the pointer changes to a hand. Then the color of the text also changes, which is giving us which is making our button behavior awesome. When I mean awesome, very awesome, because it is giving me that feel that this thing is supposed to be clickable, and okay, this is where I am right now. You understand? That's the reason. Like I said during the last class, that the feel you give CSS to give the feel. Like I need to feel. That was where I have to give you that assignment of going to 7up, because 7up website, to check out their website. You see the feeling. you will feel the website, like you feel the aura from the website, you feel it. So that feeling there, you have to feel it. So whenever you are building a layout, you always understand that every visitor or every customer, every user needs to have a feeling whenever they visit your site or platform. There's a feel you have to create. Just like whenever you go into Facebook, there's a feeling you have, like you have this feel of, you feel, sometimes you feel warm, you feel just to continue there, you feel so, you still feel so friendly, warm and relaxed. Like it's so, I would say, undescribable. Can describe, everybody has their own way they feel. Actually, I don't feel Facebook, but I feel it actually. Facebook has a feel whenever you visit their site. Just like LinkedIn, the environment, the layout has its own feel, which is a makeup of both the color and the alignment of your work and the behavior of your site. So if I did something like this, okay, I think we'll add it, we'll upgrade this so that we look at feels, like how does it feel like, you know. So then we look at button, then we now upgrade this so that we're also looking at using it. So someone asked a question about grid. I am going to do something like this. On this section, let's use grid. So we are using grid right now. So this is grid. We are using grid right now. And now, so if you don't specify for grid, you have to specify how many you want. You have to use grid, let's see, let's say 5. Let's say 5. So I'm using, uh, I'm supposed to grid, row and column. Okay, grid, column, sorry. Uh, okay, didn't work. 5. Let's see. What does, let's see. So grid column has what type of, are we expecting auto span? Yes, this is 5 span, right? Or span 5. Not working. So what do we do? We're using grid column. I actually want to do it from the CSS instead of doing it from, okay, Darwin said I should use grid column templates, grid column span 5. Is that what you said? No, actually, that's not what he said. He said grid template columns. I use 5. 5. That's, I don't answer. We have, okay. So I'm supposed to use pixels. Let's see, 5 pixels. So sorry, we didn't get, it didn't give us our outputs. I want suggestions before I do give the Okay, I'm seeing one FR. So one. What if I use two FR? What happens? So one FR. Okay. According to doing. So this is 5. Hmm. So doing is drawing. Sorry, drawing is correct. That's what we are supposed to do. So, all right, praise. We apologies accepted. Praise for that. So, drawing is correct. You use what if I use columns without template? What happens? Grid column. What if I use while I'm using grid column, so if I use span, what happens? So, like I said, explore that we don't have much time. I would have welcomed it. Sorry, oh God, I would have no welcome. Sorry, this thing just gave me. Let me leave this message chat so that I won't be confused with my words. So I would have test run it. Like we just keep testing. I keep testing all the. So like I said, explore every property and value that you can explore, so that you'll be able to like know which one to use. So Florence, go ahead with your question.
I was going to ask question about grid.
Okay.
Actually, I was trying to like um bring pictures together. They are in rows and column. You know these pictures, these images now, they are the same eyes. But those
Yes.
images, they were not the same eyes. One was longer, one was not up to it. So I was trying to use grid to do that. So I could not, because I did not even understand how to do it. Now this one
Okay.
FR one FR is easy for me to identify that okay, they are all five in number and they are the same
Yes.
height. It's easy for me to say okay, one FR in five places. But what if I have this beginner friendly, this full height, then this moderate to advanced is not the same height as beginner friendly, is like up to
Okay.
the friendly
Okay.
height. Then the
Just
next
hold
one is
on. Just
coming
hold on.
under. I don't think you
Let's do something. I get it. Let's do something
I'm not sure if you
here.
understand what I'm trying to say. Like if you say that, but they are all in
Yeah,
number.
I'll get you. I want to remove this, right? So basically, okay, let's not use this here. Okay, here let's add this image and add image frame. So I'm going to use this here. So this is what we have, right? Okay, let me add let's add extra images. So I'm going to add different type of image. So, this, copy this. and come back here, image, and add this. Okay, so let's do something like this. Add images slash. So this slash this. So let me add how many images? Let's add extra one. Okay. Let's add this. Change the phone. So this is what we have here, and add this here. So now basically we have right something like this. So we have image of different. I think that one is too much. Wow. So let me use a more okay, but we can style it. Let's go for a more this thing. I can style it if I wish. Let's use this instead of that. We could just have it and walk around this. So let's say that we have a work that's as complex as this, right? I have a work that's as complex as this, and I want to. He said we should use grid, right? So we have to use grid. So I'm going to give this button. Let's give it this div. We call it class. Give it the class of merge, right? Let's copy this. Come to our style. Does merge display grid. Display grid. So I need to reduce the size of that image. So I could, this is the last image, right? I could do something with give it 200. Just let's make it. So I think this is what we have. So we are using grid. So you ask if you are to use grid templates and define it. So let's try out using each of these. Let's use let's just use let's use two FR what's happens nothing. Let's say so, so we already have this here. Now let's use this and this and this and so so basically we have the four of them here, right? Florence, this is your question, right? Please unmute so that we could address it.
Not really, sir.
So you have an image, you have a situation like this where you have different images. So let me reduce this. So let's as a width, yeah, width, so as you could relate more recently on something like this of different sizes, right?
Yes.
So now, what is your question again?
My question is that okay now this first image is horizontal, right? Is in
Yeah.
horizontal shape. The first images we were working on before was vertical. Now we are having one vertical, then we are having another horizontal, then we are having vertical, horizontal. Like
Okay.
this first image here now, the first image we used here.
Just hold on. Let me see if I can keep it on file. Because when you kill me, let me see. Let me open my private feedback. Let's see.
Mm.
Let's see. So let's just on the, like majorly, like I would say majorly is your layout. I think I'm trying to get your okay. I think we had that feature. Yeah, I have that picture here. I opened it last time. Here we have our layout we are working on. So right here. Okay. So basically, Florence, right? So this is something you are talking about. Hello, Florence, are you with me?
Yes sir, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So now this, like I said, this is not actually the fault of grid. So in this case, eh, in this case, you just define in this case, what you do is this. There are many ways to go around this. I could define this thing by just every. There are many ways to add this. I'll give a row span, a span of that my grid should occupy on each row should occupy as many as it can carry. You understand? Now, or in this case, so basically in this case, I would say that grid is not your best option. Only if, though, if you are using grid, what you are going to do is this. You have this one and two will be inside a div. So because if you check these two, these are the same. Using grid means you are using grid officially means that eh, you are using the same width size. That's when you are using grid. Grid is just like you trying to design a window. So there are many ways to go around it. Either you group one image one and two inside one div. If you put it inside one div, so your grid will read you will read it as one element, one column. You get so you will not the individual image. So these two images will be inside one. This one two will be inside one div. This one two will be inside one div. Then this and this will be inside one div. Now you now have four different divs. So you now use grid to manage this one, div two, div three, and div four. You understand? Else, if you want to use this way, what you now do is using you instead of using grid, you use flex. Flex does in flex it don't determine you don't necessarily have to determine the width of your each of your div. So your div can be what flex will now do is that it will only carry if you are using space evenly, it will carry the ones it can carry, then the ones it cannot carry in that line, it add it to the next line. You understand? So that's what flex does. Do you understand now? So if you want to use grid, you have to group your images this way. You have to group it, do a grouping. So I think I've answered your question, Florence. So back to what we're discussing. All right. Okay. So back to what we were discussing. We I think my system
Yeah.
is lagging. So far we have learned a new how to implement grid. So I was talking about the button before the Florence question came in. So we had to also learn from that too. So Like I said, we have a default button. We have a default button with a that have background color. We have background color using our background color of gold. Then we selected our cursor to be a pointer, then and color of black. This is basically for the hover effect. That's the effect for when you hover. Then we have button. So I'm trying to connect back my system. Um, we first talked about for buttons. We created a class name. Okay. Basically, we first defined. Let me turn off my screen. Why is there an error? I don't understand this. An error. Right. So we firstly we have that from our layout design. We notice that every button on this website the same has the same thing that we are supposed to do, has the same design, which is a border of golden yellow with white. So looking at all through, so which led us to define our button to have a padding with a radius, using the same radius, then giving it a color of golden gold, making the background color transparent, that which is what we have, then giving it a color of white. Let's just choose select white as a color of white. uh Let me push this to white. Then we now have button size, front size for the button. We use 20 pixels. Then we use our width, the width of our button to fit content, which we had reasons why we did that. So let's see, check. Does the fit content do anything for us? No, it doesn't. So we remove it. It's not doing anything for us. So I actually used it to explain something I forgot to remove it. So all right, Mr. Mark, go ahead with your question.
Please, I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen. I
Yeah.
think you need to log out and log in again. Who can see my screen? If you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. Yeah. I think it's from your end. You have to log in and log out again to see my screen. Thank you so much. Favor Onuche, go ahead with your question. Or is that a mistake? Okay. All right. So we first added, like we said, we defined our button that with using the button, the the element name. With that, every button is taking this default size. We just created a default size for the buttons. Like we said, every button here had the same display except for few, which when we get to that. So we now had created an we created a div. I said because we needed a display of what we wanted here. We needed our button. We needed our button to be aligned at the center. Since there are many ways to do this, we could add a class name here and justify all the content of div, this parent div, to justify center. Because we are not doing that, so we had to create a div here. We had to create a div here and inform it on what to do. Created a div and gave it a class name of button of btn, which is housing our button. So coming here, we now say display flex. Now remember, display flex works in line with justify content, works in line with flex. So in order to, because I want to justify the content, I need to display it first to display flex. So I now had to display flex, then now justify the content to center. Then in order to have this spacing between the button, so let's just comment. This is actually how to debug your code. You just comment on each line, then see the effect. So this is what we have, and it's look closely. This is on the same line. It's not on the center, but we need it to be on the center. So we have to use display flex, then justify content center. Now it's at the center right now. So there's supposed to be a space from our design. Wait, let me bring this design close to this place. From our design, we are supposed to have a space between the button and the image. So we had to add a padding top here. Adding a padding top gave us the spacing. Then now coming to the button itself, because we needed a field that when I hover, bring my mouse on top, I need an effect, need a field. So I added a background color of gold, a cursor pointer. So if I remove this cursor pointer, what happens is this: the I only have this, the arrow becomes is still pointed and there is no change. But once I have a cursor pointer here, so with that I have my hand, is gives me that feel that okay, this is a button, I'm supposed to click on this. So that's the feel. Then with the color, knowing fully well that color, when you use the property color, means is the text. Then when you use background color, has to do with the background. So doing that, we have this, and we had what we needed. So I don't know if you have any question. All right, in the absence of question, so we looked at okay, okay, okay. Let's look at form. I know form elements. I know you also looked at styling, tables, and form elements. Let's look at form elements. I've talked about styling text. I've also fundamentals of font styling. We used that during the last class. We actually added. Where did we add that? Yes, our text. When we worked on this for this text, here, the H3 element, we actually worked on the weight, added size. So the size, we added the size, then we added the weight to it. So we could add other font family. We could use font family of, let's use Georgina, since we are ladies here. Okay, oh, this is not Georgina, sorry. Why am I just, I'm sorry, I'm just not paying attention tonight. So let's make use of Studio Fan. Now we have changed the font family, right? Now we see that each font family has is we could use just like changing the font. So let's do something like this. Uh, this is let's check for there's no this is RL, this is RL. This also changes the font of our, yes, I remember we removed from the one we removed this. Okay, so we treated font styling. So without this font family, you actually have a font. So there's another method of adding font on either from your HTML. I think we treated that. The same way you add your link, you can add a font. You can go to Google Fonts. You can go to Google Fonts and select a font. So this is depending on the font you have on your Figma file for your project. This is in order to have exactly the font. So you just click on get font. This is font.google.com. You go there. So you have to now pick up embed from get from embed. So this is how you do it. Either you have the option of adding it either as a CSS here, inter that's CSS class for variable styling. Either you use a variable styling or you add it on the head section. Okay, either or you could use import it. If this is using import is if you are trying to import this way, if you are trying to import this way, or so in order to we could just use link here, copy it, click on this and copy, come to our CSS on our HTML head section and paste it and paste. So once we paste it, we have our font. So if we go back to our display, it's taking up that font style already. So that is how to add font, to add an external font to your app. I think that has also been noted down. That has also been noted down. So I we have looked on this. So we have also looked at web fonts right now. Then styling links. I think Mr. Manuel has gone through that. Styling a link. Yeah, we have done that. Okay, let's work on this link so that we can know that we actually touched it within the next 2 minutes. We styled our header section. So on our HTML, we have a header section. So I'm going to give this a class of going to give this a class of header. Yes, hold on. So I add the header here. Oh, sorry, let's see something like this. Let's use header somewhere else. Let's use navigation. Then we use header. So we only have one header, so we just use header. So coming back to my CSS, so we have this is what we have here, and this is our display right now. So I'm going to use arrange this because before this was our head. So I'll do something like this: head, header, header, header section, header section, header section. Then I'll use this header. I have to display. This is display display flex. Okay. No, sorry, enough. Become through. Then I have to tell it justify content, justify items, center, justify content. space between. So I'm going to add, okay, give it a padding, padding, padding 0, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and 28 pixels. Sorry, I think I need to use like 48 pixels. So we're getting there. Then we sorry for that. It's time already. So let's go back to our navigation. Then here I'll come to those application. Then display something because we are displaying flex. So I'm displaying flex. So I'll have to use gap of 20. So I will now do something like this. So and I and A, I will delete text decoration. No, okay, that's to remove the underline. Then okay, this is some style. This style, no, none. Okay, let's see. Sorry, not should be for this. Yes, here and here. So I have that here. Then we have, so I'm going to turn back this guy back to background color of black. Then our logo, I think we give it a class name. So sorry. And let's just give this a color of text decoration none. Color of white. We use for white. Then what else? Okay, for home. For home, I would have used dot active. I'll use underline text decoration on the line. Then text decoration on the line. Then what else is supposed to be here? I think that's all. Okay, so I'm going to copy active. So since we have only our home page is active, I will add it here. That's I'll use here. Okay, as class active. So I'm going to give active is a padding underline text on the line offset to Texas. Okay, we have 10. I think there we have our padding. It's a padding of 3 pixels. Then okay, let's give our padding top of let's give it of 5. Let's see that it could increase just like what we have. Okay, we had much. So basically we just tied our header section. So what I did, I'm going to explain this, then we call it a ninth so that we could actually get the whole. What I did first is on our HTML, we added this is what we have on our HTML. I added a class name. I gave the UL, which is housing each of our lists, a class name of navigation. Then also gave our leaks a class, one of the leaks, the one that is active, gave it a class name of active. So what I have to do is coming to our CSS. So this comment on this, so that you could actually get comment on this, and comment on this. So the first thing I did was, this is the element selector, which is this selector that is housing the logo and the our list. So I had to display flex, justify content, space between, then item center. So though this item center is not doing anything, we could remove it. So that's this. So we just that feel like we have this justified between each other. So at the end, justified between goes to the end, then evenly have to come closely here. You could test that on your own end. So we now have to add, I added for the listing now, so we have separated it to the left and right. So we now have to work on this in other stories. So we now added, using the class navigation that was given to it, we displayed flex, justify the contents, space between each other, so it's basically within the just the width it has here. So I now gave it a gap of 20 pixels, which we have 20 pixels. But knowing fully well we still have a styling here, a default styling that comes with every list, because this is an unordered list, has a default style decoration. So in order to alter it, I have to do something about the decoration. So I had to go to the another list and say list style none. So if I remove this, there are a lot of list styling you have. So now using list style none. So I've removed the style for the list. So there's no styling now. So now looking at this, we should have, from our design, is only the active one that has an underline, that is underlined. So in order to do this, we had to create, knowing fully well that our LI, which is our list, and our list is housing our anchor list. We already know what this selector is all about and how it works. So I now created this and said text decoration none. We text each list has a default text decoration which is underlined. Every anchor link is being underlined. So which I had to remove the default. With that, with this text decoration none, I remove the default, so it's no longer there. I now have to now add text, and using text decoration none, then with this color, we giving it the color of white, then giving a padding of 3. That is how we got to this. Then we actually have like our home is the active one. We have to now give the a new class. We now have to give underline text decoration underline. Now you know that we are just styling just one. We say text decoration underline. You know, we removed the text decoration for all default, all the anchor link that we have there. But we are now saying that once it has any anchor link that has the class name of active, should have a text decoration of underline and a underline offset. We are giving it 10. Underline offset is the spacing between the line and the content. So that's what we did. Using that, we had that display. So I now want to add something. Something just came up. I need to add, like, okay, add L I uh, yeah, let's do something like this. Hover. So when you hover on this, you should have uh this. Let's see whether it works. Okay, so that's it. We now, when you hover on each of these, you have this effect. So basically we created the effect. We now added it to, so this is only the active link that has the effect of underline and offset. So we now added an hover for each one I hover on, I get it. So if I click on this to be on the store, so if we have any store on the store page, the store page will be active, then this will leave here. to this point, then if I hover on this, I get this effect. So that's how I did that. I believe that we don't have any question, any concern towards this. I've collected 15 minutes of your time. So I don't know if I have any question regards to this, what we just did now. In the absence of any question, I withdraw the curtain here for tonight. I also want us to go through it, what we have learned so far. Watch the video, go through it. I won't promise mm, I won't promise an article for tonight, but that being said, I will still try my best to see if I could come up with an article. Watch the video. If you have any question, I really want us to really be communicating. So you add the question to the group. You ask your question on the group. I need you to be following, not just always relying on the YouTube video. It seems you are always relying on that. So I won't really blame the recording of trying to delay the record so that you listen actively during the class. Ask your question, then we could now have every other thing given to us. So, as this junction, thank you so much for joining tonight's class. I believe we don't really have any other question. Thank you so much for joining tonight's class. It's been an amazing time tonight. I believe we learned new things. And we hope you implement it. I'll be dropping your assignments and your projects soon enough so that you can start working on real stuffs and get your hands dirty on projects. So that being said, thank you so much. I don't know if Lucy's here. Thank you so much for joining tonight's class. Over to you, Lucy. Please help me end the recording. And
Did you
that
ask me to
being said,
end
I
the record?
yes, end the recording. Yes, thank you so much. And I draw the curtain for tonight. See you in the next class. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night rest.
Let me enter my sister. I didn't even know you asked. All right. Thank you very much. Was there at any point you asked them to leave the call? Because the number of persons remaining here is, I don't know. You guys should let me end the recording first. I'm coming.